Guys, we gotta talk about the Xiaomi YU7 and what NIO just said about the Xiaomi YU7. It is absolutely shocking, and the impact that that car will have on NIO and Onvo. And of course, I'll share my opinion as well. But first of all, I want to give you a free NIO phone. And the way you can win a free NIO phone is by signing up for our weekly free newsletter. All right, link is up here and also down in the comments down below. Absolutely free. You just sign up and you're entered to win. So go please do that right now. And with that free newsletter, you get sent weekly information about interesting stock picks that you should take a look at. So first of all, of course, well, look at the shirt I'm wearing. I'm wearing this. This is the shirt that celebrates 500,000 NIO deliveries. All right. Very, very spectacular number, but what's even more crazy is the Xiaomi YU7 upon launch had 289,000 locked in orders within 1 hour, which is absolutely bonkers. Okay? Absolutely crazy. Now, sure, give or take, a portion of that might be people that are trying to, sell their position in line, and they're not actually going to take delivery of the car. They're more to just earn a profit, okay? And that happens with everybody. But still, that is impressive nonetheless. Now, NIO said something about the Xiaomi YU7, and this is pretty interesting, guys. So, Dr. Xin Fei, who is the head of Onvo right now, used to be head of NIO Power. After the YU7 launch, he had this to say on Weibo, which is sort of like Twitter. Take a look. This is basically him saying, you can, after watching the YU7 launch, you can safely choose the Onvo L60. And this is in a very sort of condescending kind of like, thank God they're crap, thank God they're nothing, well, you can safely choose the Onvo L60. We're bigger, more spacious, better energy efficiency, bigger screen. We also have the 52-liter fridge, much better. And then we can also swap all the way to Mount Everest. Sort of like, finally, they launched that car. Now we know that they're not good. Yeah, that's a kind of attitude that you get from that post right there. And of course, all the Onvo managers took this opportunity to take his word for word and basically share it with everybody. All right, so sharing that same thing that you can safely choose the Onvo L60 because we're just much better than them, and we'll have to see if that strategy works. Okay, but let's be real for a moment. Okay, so the YU7. Some of the content creators here in China got early testing. Most importantly, Dcar, which is like one of the biggest auto testing website / platforms here in China. They got their hands on that car. They took it to the track, and the YU7 caught on fire. The brakes caught on fire. But that's because even though the brakes couldn't stand up with the intensity of the track, but that car just beat everybody, all right, and even beat Xiaomi's own SU7, which is absolutely crazy, and took the #1 spot. So yes, the brakes caught on fire because it was very demanding, but that is crazy that an SUV just destroyed everybody and got the #1 spot in terms of lap time. And so they actually have some decent tech in this car this time. And the thing is, when it comes to this car, it's trying to go after two of the big boys. All right, Onvo is actually not one of them. It's trying to go after, first of all, the Model Y. Right, the base version of the Xiaomi YU7 starts at 250,000 RMB, which is just a tiny little bit cheaper than the Model Y starting price, and then the YU7 Max starts at 328,000 RMB, which is just a little bit cheaper than the ES6. So of course the ES6 has held the helm as the best-selling SUV at a price point of over 300,000 RMB here in China. And of course, the Model Y has held that the crown for the best-selling pure electric SUV at a price point of over 250,000. So they're kind of going after both of these guys. They're going after ES6. They're going after the Model Y. And there's a full comparison chart. It's on the screen. You're watching it right now. But there's some things that you got to sum up. All right. People are buying this car for the design. Okay, I'll roll this clip.
It looks great, really great. The interior truly has a luxury car feel. For girls, good looks inside and out are key. For the first 15 seconds, my first impression was its appearance. Girls tend to focus on looks when shopping. After the test drive, I think it's pretty good.
A lot of ladies, they just instantly order the car because they love the look of it. Especially because it looks sort of like the Ferrari Purosangue, which, is hella expensive, super expensive. And, people can get a car that looks similar to that and filled with tech features, etc. But also, I think the biggest threat isn't towards Envo. I think Envo is going to be fine, okay, when it comes to the YU7, because Envo car is much cheaper. They're not in the same price category. Envo is more family focused. But I do think this car does pose a big threat towards the ES6 and NIO's lineup, the NIO brand's lineup, mainly because, for the price of ES6, this is the base price of ES6, you can get the Xiaomi YU7 Max, which is like the max spec. All right, so you're paying less, but you're getting the top of the line for the YU7, and some people are already switching. There's this one clip of a person who has sold his 90-kilometer ET5T because he ordered the YU7. 90 kilometers. He drove it for 90 kilometers and he's selling it for the Xiaomi YU7. And it's undeniable that Xiaomi has a tremendous fan base and a lot of people who are willing to, buy their car. And it's pretty crazy. But I think for NIO right now, their strategy right now, strategy twofold. For Envo, right, they're trying to get people to test drive the car, of course, and then they have this special promo where you can have the car for 72 hours for free, test drive it basically for 3 days, and then you can give it back. And then if you want, you can buy it. Right? If you like the car, you can buy it, which I think is a very nice strategy. And for NIO, of course, discounts. You got to run discounts. You have this strong competitor coming in. You're going to have to do discounts. And where NIO shines above the YU7, okay? NIO is better than the YU7 in terms of autonomous driving, all right? NIO has their own chip, and Xiaomi's autonomous driving isn't really, known for being that good, okay? Autonomous driving, and you would have to argue that NIO's use of materials on the interior of the car, the build quality, the service, all right? Xiaomi service is more akin to Tesla's service, and NIO service is much, much more like, there's a lot more hospitality in NIO service. And then in terms of like longevity, battery swap, getting power, all that kind of stuff, NIO is better. But in terms of like just numbers, like specs, the Xiaomi YU7 does make it look a lot better. All right, the Xiaomi YU7, like better acceleration, better charging speeds, that kind of stuff. So it is going to be a very tough choice for a lot of consumers. And, it's getting more tough, man. And I think they're going to have to come up with even stronger incentives going forward. And think about the number of orders that they got, 289,000 locked-in orders. That is no joke. How many of that came from Tesla? How many of that came from Li Auto? How many of that came from NIO? That's something to think about. So you got a big dog, DAWG, entering the market with the Xiaomi YU7. And I think it's a great time for Envo to pick up their numbers and hopefully NIO can maintain and even grow their delivery numbers despite this threat. All right. So I think if you order a Xiaomi YU7 now, the deliveries are gonna be a long time away. Because last year, what happened was people ordered the Xiaomi SU7, and there's so much demand they couldn't start delivering the cars, and people got fed up and they just bought an ET5. So that helped NIO sales surge. So we could possibly see NIO sales also surge. People order the YU7 and then they get fed up because it takes them a year. They have to wait a year to get the car, and they just can't wait a year. And they just take that order, go to NIO and say, hey, this order, I paid $5,000 for the Xiaomi YU7. Can you take $5,000 off for the NIO car, and I'll take delivery of the NIO car. Bam. That happens all the time. It happened last year. I think it could possibly lead to a surge in NIO's deliveries eventually. Okay? So, yeah. Very interesting times, guys. Very interesting times. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.